Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. In the back of Fitch-Rona EMS ambulance with the only guy I know that would be in the back of the ambulance. Kidding. It's Jeff Doslick, Deputy Chief. How you doing, sir?
I am doing great, thank you.
Thank you for having me. And we're picking up, we kind of had this conversation a while back about Stop the Bleed, but today we're actually getting some practice in.
Yes, so we'll talk a little bit about Stop the Bleed and why we're doing it. And we're doing it in concert with a bunch of other departments in Dane County. I know the Sheriff's Department is doing something down in the town of Verona as well. And so I thought it would be important to just talk about what Stop the Bleed is. We found that a lot of people don't survive when they have a serious bleed because people don't know how to actually do it or they're afraid to do it. And so the Stop the Bleed program, after the Sandy Hook shooting, they started to look at ways that we could save people, in a short period of time before EMS or police or fire get there, and they came up with the Stop the Bleed. So I brought a couple things with me to talk about it. The first thing is what we call an IFAC kit. It's an individual first aid kit. This is a trainer here, but you'll notice a lot of police officers, firefighters, and now the paramedics are carrying these just for themselves. So if something happens to us, we can then open it up. Inside we have a tourniquet and some quick clot combat gauze, a chest seal, things like that. So in the event that we have something horrible happen, like a school shooting or a mass shooting in our area, we can deploy these kits really quickly as we go through the building. People can help each other out, and that's really kind of the goal of Stop the Bleed, is help out your fellow person next to you before fire and EMS get there and maybe save their life. So so that's the IFAC kit here, which and we'll talk about the tourniquet, and we'll just kind of deploy it real quick here for you and show you what that is.
Yeah, this is, it's a different world out there and whatnot, but simple life-saving measures can make a huge difference if somebody is bleeding. And these are easy things. It's similar to like chest compressions only. It's that same drive, try to make it as easy as possible, but the outcome can be, tremendous if it works out. So
well, you brought up CPR. That's a good point. When people were afraid to do mouth to mouth with somebody in CPR, so they came up with compressions only. You just do chest compressions, and that helps. This is a similar, I think, kind of outlook on doing trauma. So the first thing to do is make sure that you contact 911, call 911, say I got an issue. Kind of go back to basics, direct pressure. So direct pressure is going to be, so you can see here, if we have a laceration, direct pressure, put your hand on it, push down as hard as you can, and hold it until the bleeding stops. After direct pressure, we can look at the tourniquet. Tourniquet is a good way. If you carry one of these in your car, everybody actually should carry a tourniquet in their car, if not for yourself or somebody else. And this is a good way to stop bleeding. So we want to go as high up as we can on the end. So if it's in the arm, we're going to go as high as we can. The same thing with the leg, we go as high as we can. And actually, it's pretty simple. You just wrap the tourniquet on, pull it as tight as you can. Tell the person it's going to hurt, because it's going to hurt, but you're going to save their life. You can take the windlet here and then just twist it until the bleeding stops, and then just lock it in.
And I could say something I remember learning from the training from when I was doing EMS is a lot of people were afraid that they thought it was tight enough, but actually you could go pretty tight on it. Can you kind of just quickly go over that as well?
Right. So you want to just turn it as tight as you can until the bleeding stops. So if you have an arterial bleed, which would be squirting, you want to put the tourniquet on. Just keep cranking down on it until the bleeding stops. If you don't think that that's tight enough, and if you have a second tourniquet, throw the second one on just above it. Don't take this one off, and put another one on there too. So if somebody's really seriously bleeding, you may need to do direct pressure, put the tourniquet on, elevate it, do all of that stuff. But the goal is to get the bleeding to stop. Now we have a couple of areas that we may not be able to get to with the tourniquet. So for example, let's say if we had somebody that maybe had a cut up in the armpit or the groin or the chest, somewhere where you can't get the bleeding stopped, we have what we call combat gauze, and really you just keep feeding it in. I don't know if you can see that there, but you can just...
You're feeding it, literally you're feeding it into the wound. You're packing the wound here.
Packing the wound, and holding pressure on it to try and find where that bleed is coming from. We realize that a lot of people out there like us go, yeah, it's bleeding, and we're going to go jump right in. But if you have a personal IFAC kit or some sort of first aid in you, then try to get that stopped as quickly as you can. Direct pressure. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, the tourniquet's on, how long can I leave it on? You can leave it on quite a long time until the paramedics get there and take him to the hospital and get it taken care of. So we're offering these classes. So if residents are interested in a Stop the Bleed program, there's a whole PowerPoint presentation and all that to go along with it and some practice. We'd be more than happy to do something. If you have an organization that you're with and you want to see Stop the Bleed, you can contact Patrick Anderson, our chief, or you can contact myself at Fitch-Rona EMS, and we'll set something up.
All right, Jeff, I appreciate the tips. We'll put out when you have some of those upcoming events on going through this or anything else.
Yes.
I know you guys are working on getting the community and stuff, so we'll keep promoting that. And
check our Facebook page. We'll have it up on our Facebook page, and obviously, if there's something you want to do, just contact us, and we'll try to set something up so that we get as many people in as we can to do it.
Perfect. Like it. Great training. And looking forward to having you on the show again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Pleasure.
We'll take a quick break. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.